All right, welcome back to the greatest real estate show on planet Earth, The Walkthrough, where we check down your week's most trending topics in the real estate industry. And we have got a throwback show with this cast of characters. Today, we, of course, have my co-host, Eric Simon, the broke agent. I am Byron Lazine. Have you found Eric's baseball? He has found it. There it is. And we have Taya DeCarlo back. I think you were just on 2 weeks ago, Taya, right?
Yeah, I love you guys. Happy to be here.
We have enormous news that we're going to talk about before we get into these 4 juicy topics from Taya. And back, we have lifted the suspension on Danny Deals. Dan O'Neill, he had at least a 2-month suspension from the walkthrough. His technology was insane. He had a 400-person party, I think, the last time he was on the walkthrough in the other room. And so we had to put him in the penalty box. He's a big hockey fan. He knows what the penalty box is. We put him there. He was comfortable there. And he's back. We're giving him another shot, fresh off of the most diabolical weekend I've ever had in my life, hanging out with Dan in Montauk in the Hamptons and Eric as well.
It's like being in the movie Uncut Gems when you're hanging out.
Oh my God, that's not good. 3
straight hours.
It was quite insane. We did get incredible content. We have a Danny Deals vlog coming up. We've got tomorrow, the Byron Lazine podcast. We have Johnny Drinks, who's got millions of followers. We opened up a $20,000 bottle of bourbon. You'll have to check out that, see what that's all about. And so just a lot of good stuff happening. We've got great topics today. The recession, are we going by the definition or not? We're going to talk about that. The Fed, what they're doing with the rates, the top 20 emerging housing markets, and this HubSpot Instagram report, all stuff you absolutely need to know. Before we dive in, make sure you hit the link below for KCM. Try KCM.com/BAM. This is the most relevant topics. We're going to talk about that in topic 1, curated market insights. It's branded to you. You've got to have it. Go try it for free. BAM's hooking you up. Go hit the KCM link. And we also have other big news, Taya. So before we get to the recession, you announced on your Instagram that you are launching a podcast that may put all of the BAM podcasts fighting for number 2. And
well, that would be your own doing, Byron. I mean, you guys have been hounding me. And by the way, I think everybody should know that this podcast is being born because of the private conversations that the 4 of us have had about my life in recent months. You guys are like, this shit is gold. You need to talk about this stuff. So yeah, I mean, due to your harassment, I'm doing this podcast.
So you're doing a podcast on the BAM network. We're not ready to release the name, right? Have we? You didn't announce the name the other day.
I did. I teased it.
All right. So go ahead. What's the name going to be? What's the show going to be about? What kind of reactions have you gotten? And then we'll dive in here to topic 1.
Sure. The podcast is going to be called Take 2 with Taya, which is basically my second half of life, right? Turning 40, newly single after being in a long relationship and marriage for almost 15 years. So it's a whole new world out there for me. And also just being a woman who owns her own business and is successful and has 2 kids and juggling all of that. There's a lot to, I think, pay forward and to share and laugh and cry and all of the above.
Wild stories. I've really never dated in my life, but you just jumping into the dating pool.
I got married at 4 years old.
Yeah. Jumping into the dating pool and telling us what it's like. It can be quite interesting at times. So you're going to get into all those stories. I'm really looking forward to that pod. Have you had any crazy reactions yet?
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, the general response is oh my gosh, I can't wait, which I'll be honest with you. I think it was within 48 hours, there was 1,000 likes on the reel that I posted and people resharing it and talking about it, which I was very humbled to hear that people even are interested in something that I have to say that has nothing to do with real estate. But there were a handful of comments that were Taya, be careful. Don't share too much. There are some things that should be kept private. And so what I have to say to that is, I'm blonde, but I'm not stupid. Like, I'm not going to be revealing private things in my life that would compromise my own integrity or disparage anyone in my family or my children or anything like that. So the objective of the podcast is to come from a place of love and contribution, and obviously a little bit of entertainment, because that's what I am. But I'm going to keep my side of the street clean, if you know what I mean, while still, sharing things that I think people could benefit from,
Well,
like
so-
like even guys. Like, I'm going to give some tips on some dating profiles for
Ooh,
dudes.
well, Dan will have to watch that on rewind. No, Dan is locked into a relationship.
Oh,
Sorry,
he's madly
Dan.
in love.
I almost had a a blip in memory that Dan
He's
is
madly in love
madly
with
in
this
love.
Yeah,
lady.
you just spent 5 days with her too. Jesus Christ.
I know. Shout out to Emily. All right. Let's jump into topic number 1 and check this one off. The GDP fell 0.9% in quarter 2. That's the second straight decline and a strong recession signal. That's the headline straight off of CNBC. It follows a 1.6 decline in quarter 1 and was worse than the Dow Jones estimate for a gain of 0.3%. So we were looking for a gain in quarter 2. We've had now 2 quarters of a decline. By definition, by the way, I always thought 2 straight quarters of GDP decline meant automatic recession. There's a whole bunch of people, including what we're going to talk about in topic number 2, the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, says he does not see economy in recession. You've got a bunch of people saying, hold on, that may be the definition, but we're not in a recession. So I don't know if this is politicking or what, but there's a lot of just up in the air. Are we in a recession or not? Certainly 2020 was labeled a recession when we had, throw the chart back up there, Bobby, when we had 2 quarters of decline in gross domestic product, GDP. We see that again here. It's not as big, obviously, as the beginning of the pandemic, but it is 2 declines, and we haven't seen that in 6 straight quarters. So let's throw our classic KCM chart up there, because, by the way, this chart here that we just switched off of, but switch back to it, Bobby. This chart here, this is what any consumer who's paying attention to recession, this is what they're seeing. So they're seeing charts going down. They're seeing bad. They're seeing, we're not keeping up with estimates. But this chart here, which you've seen probably in the past, this KCM chart, is the one that we need to get in front of our consumers, because a recession, quoting David Childers, does not equal a housing crisis. Oftentimes, it will equal an uptick in home values, which is good for homeowners. It's good for anybody investing in real estate. And I'm just thinking, I'm going to kick it around to you guys here, obviously. I'm just thinking about how often can we get this in front using email, using our social media marketing in front of our database. Because remember, our database, our followers on social, if we make a post once every week, I don't know, Eric, what is 10% of people maybe see that is following you? If you have a 30% open rate, then okay, 3 out of 10 in your database are actually, seeing that chart. Often and always, we got to keep reminding them through the next 6 months about this information, which means more social posts, more emails. They're not even if they see it once, they may not remember it. So Taya, do you agree with that? And what are you going to do to continue to over-educate your database, your following?
Well, I think it's really important that everybody remembers that real estate is its own economy. It's completely separate. Like, will, stocks and anything else in the general economy, in the global economy, in the United States economy, sometimes have a reaction effect to real estate? Absolutely. But real estate is its own economy. I'm a firm believer that if you buy real estate, you should hold on to it as long as you can and only sell if you absolutely need to, because buying real estate is like hopping on the escalator. The trajectory over time, whether there's a little blip, right? Because everything is cyclical. We may see a little blip in home values, but over time, we know that eventually it continues to appreciate. I predict
that
people
right
are
there,
gonna
what
kick
you said,
themselves.
what you just said, Taya, is a tweet. It might be a screenshot tweet going up on BAM later, / Taya DeCarl. Real estate is its own economy. That's a script that as agents we should be using. Hey, real estate's its own economy. Let me tell you about it, right? And boom. you get into the data. Dan, what do you think about, are we in a recession? Are we not? What's your feeling? A lot of it is psychology, but what do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is psychology, and I guess, will play devil's advocate. I don't think necessarily we are in a recession, but I definitely do believe that we are trending towards one. And my two reasons for that are, number one, in speaking to builders and investors across the country, a lot of them are starting to pull back. They're not as aggressive as they have been. And the second reason is there are less people getting mortgages. There are less people buying houses. So less people building and investing and less buyers. I think that's trending towards a recession.
Yeah, the feeling on Wall Street is that the economy could well hit recession later this year or in 2023, but they feel like we're not in one now. That being said, the feeling of our consumers is different than that of Wall Street's. That may not be enough to change public perception. However, a morning consult/political poll earlier this month indicated that 65% of registered voters think the economy is already in a recession. So, 2/3 of the public believe we're in recessionary times, despite what Wall Street, despite what the Fed wants you to believe. And just based off a textbook definition, this drop in GDP would signal recession. There's people arguing that, certainly, like I said, the Fed, Wall Street, Joe Biden, all being, in that camp of saying, hey, we're not in a recession right now.
Well, and hey, Byron, one thing to add is that in times of uncertainty, people freeze, right? Yeah. In times of uncertainty, where I agree with Dan, are we heading towards an economic recession? Absolutely. And what we're seeing in real estate, even though it is its own economy, is that the buyers who are approved and know that these interest rates are historically low, when they see what's happening in the news and 2/3 of people are and agreeing with what's going on, right? They sit back and they go, you know what? I'm going to pause for a second and I'm going to observe on the sidelines. And what happens when people just sit back and observe, it has its own ripple effect, right? So right now, at least what I'm seeing in Los Angeles is homes are staying on the market a little bit longer. Sellers are getting a little squirrely and are having to adjust their expectations, when I really think that, again, we can get into this like we did before. We're standing on the shoulders of inflated prices, where sellers have to adjust their expectations that they're not going to get 10% over list. Maybe they're going to get right at list or 3% below. But if you bought over the last 10 years, you're still making a huge gain.
I want my talking points ready. Real estate is its own economy. I love that, like, starting script to dive into the data when you're having these conversations. That might even be, guys, a subject line in your next email campaign. Real estate's its own economy. Here's why. Show them some KCM data. You can try it for free, obviously, with the link below, and start to overeducate your database on what this means for them. It flows right into topic number 2. So let's check that one off and dive into this Forbes article. The Fed is raising rates again by another 75 basis points. So doing that this week. And let's talk about how that can affect, according to Forbes, your money, meaning our consumers, our clients, our database's money, how they're going to be thinking about this, from a personal standpoint. Number one, it impacts the stock market, but it impacts it more from a psychological standpoint, meaning people are like, okay, are we at the bottom? I'm like, somebody tell you just said freeze, right? It causes a freeze effect. I'm not going to do anything with stocks. I'm not buying any stocks right now because I just don't know where we're at. So more of the psychology around the markets. Number two, credit card interest. So credit card interest becomes more expensive during these times. If people want to live up to the lifestyle they had when they had stimulus money and, all this other, and maybe their business was doing better, the 6 months prior to the last 6 months, they're going to go to the credit card. They're going to dip in. That's that. If we start seeing that, which we are right now, an increase in people using their credit cards and not paying it off on a monthly basis, that would be bad over a 3 to 6 month period, for our consumers. Number three, mortgages and loans become costlier. Obviously, it's going to be more expensive to borrow money and buy real estate. And number four, the rates on the savings increase, but not substantial enough for 99% of Americans. They're not going to see any type of gain on their savings account with how little these increase. So with knowing this data, knowing that these are the four things that will happen as the Fed continues to increase the rate to fight inflation, what can we do knowing, okay, psychology around stocks, knowing, okay, credit cards become more expensive, mortgages and loans do become more expensive, but real estate's a great asset and rates on savings. What can we do with these four to help not only educate clients and agents, but get more business done, get more people investing in real estate? Dan, what are your thoughts on that?
I think using our platforms to educate our followers, both agents and consumers, are incredibly important, and kind of controlling the narrative a little bit. I've been getting a ton of phone calls lately from buyers and sellers that everybody's just freezing, right? Like, people don't want to sell because they don't know what's going on. They want to wait. Buyers, we're not in a rush. And, with interest rates and everything, we're not in a rush. We're going to wait. So now everyone's kind of just like freezing, and they're getting this information from online, from, watching the news, and they're not educating themselves, or they're not watching the right people. So continue to educate our clients and the consumer, and also doing more buyer consultations and more seller consultations, and educating them on this information and what it means for the market is going to get you more business and make your life a lot easier.
Eric, do you think locally, like for somebody's local database, a good email subject title might be, here's what just happened to your credit card, or here
That would scare the hell out of me. I would definitely open that. So yes.
So you would
Here's
open
what just
that.
happened to your credit card. Yeah, of course.
Here's what happened to your
My
credit
God.
card. And
Scared me even you just saying it.
In the show notes, we put the links to all these articles every time. So you could grab this Forbes article, and you could just clip out number 2, credit card interest becomes more expensive, right? Boom. You put that out there, and maybe you offer up 3 tactics to your database on how to avoid using credit cards right now. And if you can get into a place of investing in real estate, how you can maybe create some passive income for yourself and not have to rely on a credit card to like support your lifestyle because you have this new passive income. I'm just thinking of ways that are not like, the generic email subject line. Because Eric, you and I know how well email works for BAM and certainly for my team. I'm sure you guys, same thing for your teams in your local market. Email marketing is, even Dan's best buddy, Ricky Caruth, would agree that email marketing is such a powerful tool to speak to your database. And so I would use some of this information that's out there in the public to come up with a snazzy subject line that might increase clicks, and you can add value on top of that. You can sprinkle your 2 cents in on what they can do with that information. Taya, your thoughts?
I was going to say, you'd be surprised the stuff you put in an email that people actually listen to. Like, I had a Taya's 2 cents that I put out on YouTube. I didn't post it on Instagram because a lot of content because I make my content a month in advance. And there was a lot of content that I was going to put out this month that was no longer relevant. Like, everything changed so quickly that I had to backpedal and be like, oh, wait, like usually I would say August is an awful time to put your home on the market. Why? Because people go on vacation, the kids are going back to school, and no one's really paying attention. And honestly, I actually think I put that video out again. I took it off YouTube because I had one client who opened it in an email, and he goes, well, sure, I don't want to put my house on the market in August. You told me not to. And I'm like, shit, you actually watch my videos. So my point is, people will listen to what you have to say, especially if you have a opinion that's based in experience and based in some portion of truth, right? Like, I have over a decade long of experience. It is the slowest month, on par with December. So I would say the conversations that I'm having with my clients right now, especially the ones who are thinking of selling, and like Dan said, they freeze, they don't know what to do. I help them take more of a bird's eye view approach and say, okay, you are scared to sell right now. You want to buy, your monthly payment's going to be more because the interest rates are going up. Where do you see yourself in 5 to 6 years? Do you see yourself moving? Okay, we're on trend for interest rates to go up even more. So if you're going to sell, that has actually helped some of my clients go, you know what, fuck it, you're right. Let's take a little bit of an adjustment on the price that we really wanted, the pie in the sky price. We're going to adjust our expectations, and maybe we'll get a better deal on our purchase. So people are really, working on examining what is this long-term goal of mine when it comes to real estate. And maybe I should make the move now, because if I'm going to make it in the next 3 to 5 years, now to do it.
Yeah, that's the approach to take. What Taya just walked us all through right there. It's being the financial advisor to the client, giving them the long-term look. If you sit down with a financial advisor and say, "Hey, I want to start a retirement fund," they're going to say, "Okay, well, let's look at the next 30 years," right? They're not just going to say, "Hey, let's look at the next 3 months," which is oftentimes, the trap a real estate agent falls into. Taya is saying, "Let's go long-term, see how this is going to work for you in 2 years and 5 years." And that's great advice. Before we check off the topic, something I've been thinking about a lot that I think can help everybody, especially over the next 6 months. And when you hear me say it, you may say, "Whoa, Byron, I just can't get involved in that." I'd be thinking about email subject lines. I'd be thinking about video topics. I'd be thinking about blogs that are connected to politics, but not political. Here's why. And we're doing it, by the way, with the real word. We're changing the third segment to, a segment around these political headlines. We're taking the Marketeer of the Week, and we're going to let Overask continue to run with marketing. And Eric's got some cool stuff coming up for Marketing Mondays on the BAM YouTube channel, which, by the way, if you're watching this right now on YouTube and not listening, make sure that you hit the subscribe and throw us a like on this video. We'd really appreciate that if you're interested in doing so. But here's what I mean by politic or political headlines, but not being political. If you look at the just the title of the YouTube this week for the report, did Congress just doom the housing market? Okay, well, there was a this whole thing. Lawrence Yun was in front of Congress, National Association of Realtors, testifying this week. You could take that, add information to your database that's not political. That's just covering the story. That's just talking about what some of the issues are in housing and how you, as an investor or someone that's going to buy real estate in your local market, can benefit from it. And the reason why I think this is such a powerful way to get more attention on your content is in November. What do we have coming up?
Election.
Yeah, we've got the midterms coming up.
My thoughts on illegal immigration.
No.
The election was stolen. Why the election was stolen. Of course. These are very clickable titles. I completely agree.
Oh my God.
Here's what I think. Take some of the topics that a larger percentage of your database is following over the next 6 months and tie it back into how they could use that to their benefit in their local market, right? Not maybe immigration, Eric, if you're on the border, maybe, but I would say for 99% of agents, I'd stay away from that one. That would be a toxic one. But listen, people are paying attention to this right now because of where we are, because of the election. So ride the wave. I always talk about right now is the best time. Here's a hack, and we maybe even should write an article on this, Eric. Right now is the best time to be running radio ads. You find your local political talk show and you run radio ads because the listenership goes through the roof as we get closer to November. And so go where the attention is. And that's the point I'm making on that. And that's what you can do just with this Forbes article talking about the Fed or the recession one. These have a twist of politics in them. Go a little bit towards the line and use it to your advantage. Taya, final thought on that?
I mean, I don't have a final thought on that.
Would you agree or disagree? Would you stay away from that?
I am one of those people that when it comes to my business, I'm apolitical. Like, I don't want to rock the boat one way or the other. So if I ever do say anything political on my page, people are like, skirt, what just happened?
Yeah.
So for me personally, I stay away from it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say, here's who I'm voting for. I think that's
Right.
insane. That's an insane move. What I'm talking about is, this is trending on Wall Street Journal. Use it to your advantage and tie it right back into the community.
100%. And I think what I would like to see more real estate agents do is instead of just being lazy and seeing someone else's video and doing like verbatim or basically liking and lifting, which I know that in the past we've really like encouraged people to do. Everybody has their own strong opinion. Even if you agree with someone, I think put your own spin on it because your market, like, Dan's on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast. Like, our markets may have some similarities, but they're absolutely different. Audiences are different. Like, speak to your audience, not just the nationwide audience.
We're going to try it on the real word. And at the end of each show, I'm going to actually give you an example of how you can tie politics into getting more attention on your content. But tell me in the comments here, is this an insane, is this an insane piece of advice coming from me? Dan, your final thought, and then we're going
Let us know in the comments who you voted for.
In the comments, do you agree with Eric
2016 and 2020? I want both candidates who you voted for.
Do you agree with Eric that the election was stolen in the comments?
That's not what I was saying. That's not what I was saying. Delete everything. All I was saying, that's a great email subject.
Do you want to walk yourself back on that one?
No, I mean, it was a great subject line. I'd never walk myself back on anything.
All right, Dan, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, Byron, would you be using these clickbait headlines if you were more in production as opposed to being your team lead? That was mine.
No, 100%, because I would even use this for, upfront team related content, meaning Jerome Powell just said this, how it impacts our local market. Okay. Is that pretty good? Now, is Jerome Powell, is that name political on both sides right now?
Was he the closer for the Rays? I don't even know who that is.
Jerome Powell is the chairman for the Fed, but so, Congress talks about him all the time. Joe Biden's talking about him this week. I think it's okay to say the name Joe Biden. He's the president of the United States of America.
That's a great example. There's a fine line between making a political opinion post and taking stuff that's actually in the news and reporting the news. If you are reporting the news, and again, people have a hard time sometimes deciphering through what's actual news and what's an opinion piece. So pick a news piece and talk about facts, and I think you'll be fine.
How about this subject line? How about you only do this? Email subject line. It's 2 words. You just write Joe Biden. Listen, I think you get a 70% open rate, and then you can just go to I
think this video is going to get a 70% watch rate.
And then you can just go right to a quote. But even as we face historical global challenges, we are on the right path, and we will come through this transition stronger and more secure. Joe Biden talking about the recession. Boom. Next line. Here's how a recession will actually impact your real estate market. Boom. KCM chart, right? Like, wow, what an easy email to put together. And I guarantee you get double opens, whatever your open rate is right now, by just putting Joe Biden in the subject line.
Report back in the comments on your open rate.
I think we should use that for the title of this video.
Joe Biden. Yeah, that's it.
What if you put Sleepy Joe?
Donald Trump plays in Joe.
I'm trying to get some engagement. I'm trying to get some clicks. That's all I'm doing. Just getting some reactions.
Donald Trump's handicap.
By the way, Joe B, if you are listening, we'd love to have you on the walkthrough. Love to have you sitting right where Dan's sitting right now. We'll save a seat for you. Bobby's votes for Janet Yellen. All right, let's move on. Topic number 3. We covered it on BAM, so you can link to the BAM article below. This is from the just released this week, the 2022 Wall Street Journal / Realtor.com emerging housing markets index for 300 metro areas, and here are the top 20 emerging markets. Okay, so just little interesting that these are all not like major cities, but these are the top 20 emerging markets right now as we sit here today.
How do you
in real estate?
One? That is
are these Pokemon or are these cities?
We've got
oh my god,
Elkhart, Goshen, Indiana.
Coming in hot, number 1.
Burlington, North Carolina, Johnson City, Tennessee, Fort Wayne, Billings, Montana, Raleigh, North Carolina, Rapid City, in South Dakota.
What are these based on, Byron? I'd like to know. What is this based on?
I made this on an Excel sheet right before this.
Let me run through the list real quick. Sarasota area, Topeka, Kansas. Topeka, 230,000 population. You see the populations there. You can dig through this data on your own on the chart. Where's this in California, Taya? Visalia, Portsville, California. Where is that? 466,000 people. Do you even know?
I have no idea.
Fort Collins, Colorado.
Our viewers are going to be like, she is a dumb blonde.
No.
Eric,
Eric, you're in California. Have you heard of that?
No,
area?
Of course not.
No. Okay. All right. So there you go. These are small areas is the point. Chapel Hill, North Carolina, College Town, Santa Cruz. Okay, Santa Cruz, that's a little area in California.
Yeah, Santa Cruz has always been a great area.
Boulder, Colorado, Huntsville, Alabama. And then you got a couple more small California areas. Small for California, 400,000 people, 134,000 people respectively. Jefferson City, Missouri, Fort Knox, Kentucky, and then Colorado Springs. Okay, so here you go. These are the top 20 emerging markets based off of this index. So smaller metro areas are catching attention of buyers. Mid-sized cities are often more affordable than cities like San Francisco or New York. For those with bigger budgets, many are looking for better work-life balance that comes with an outdoorsy metro, strong local economies. The markets in the top 20 list have low unemployment rates and a blend of private industries, healthcare, higher education, and government agencies boosting the economy. In addition, there are more small businesses in these markets providing plenty of employment opportunities. And number 3, vacation destinations. Many markets on the list make great vacation spots offering outdoor recreation, mild climates, and plenty of sunshine. Yeah, you didn't see a lot of stuff jammed up in the Northeast or any of these cold northern areas. Post-pandemic, many people are looking to become residents of vacation destinations for active outdoor lifestyle. Is this a trend, Dan, that we see? You know, we just spent the weekend in Montauk. I don't think anybody's going to be going out there. It's an insane place to be. But some of these more vacation areas where it's warm year round, do you see this as a trend going forward over the next 6 months, these smaller metros?
Yes and no. I think that, your Charlestons are always going to be big. The areas like Naples, where you live, Byron, there's always going to be a big migration pattern. I think I'm a genius because what is it here? I think it's number 7, Sarasota. We're opening up an office and we are going to be selling real estate there as well. So we're trying to parlay the fact that there are a lot of people leaving the Northeast, and specifically where I am in New York, and going to these southern areas with sunshine, nicer weather, lower taxes, politics, so on and so forth. But definitely see that as a trend. But I don't know where they got some of these names from. I can't even pronounce half of them. So, but what I do find interesting, though, is the population, how small a lot of these areas are.
And look, there's only one of the top 20 emerging markets, that's Santa Cruz, that's above $1 million median listing price for June 2022. So it makes sense when I look at the first one, Elkhart, Goshen, Indiana, having a median price point at $279. That's going to attract investors. That's going to attract people looking for more affordability in their lifestyle. That's below the national median average, which is about $350,000. You have number 3 coming in right at $350,000. You have Topeka, Kansas at $225,000. To me, these are attractive markets, whether we're in a declining real estate market, high interest rates, because you can't build real estate for what the median price point is in these markets. Now, do you want to live in Topeka? You got to make that decision for yourself. Taya, what do you think?
I think this is in direct response to people being completely priced out of the metropolitan areas, right? Like if they want the blend of not being so rural out in the sticks where you don't really have, the luxuries that you would have in a big city like Boulder, Colorado. I mean, that's an amazing part of Colorado that you've got the university, you've got a ton of jobs. I'm not surprised to see that on there. Same thing with Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz is a college town as well. So I think that this is, again, a trend that we're going to see more of, simply because, again, that when you have low inventory, right? I don't care what's happening with interest rates going up. We still don't have enough houses to go around for the amount of demand that we have. So the people who cannot afford, like that, doubling interest rate that we've seen this year, anyone who's been completely priced out, they're like, you know what? If we can't be in this metropolitan area, let's go to the next best thing. So I think that this is, I'm not surprised at all to see a lot of, especially from California, seeing some of these places.
If you're serving a market in one of these areas, drop us a comment. Let us know if you're in this top 20 off of this Wall Street Journal Realtor.com index report that came out this week. Let us know if you're in Topeka or Raleigh or Billings or Santa Cruz, any of these, Jefferson City. Check out the table on the BAM article. We'll link it in the show notes and let us know if you're in one of these markets. Love to hear from you. Love to know how many people are following the Broke Agent from Topeka, Kansas specifically. Not to just pick on them, but
Topeka, it's the capital of Kansas.
Topeka's not that warm either, so that
freezing there
debunks that. All right, number 4 topic here on this edition of the walkthrough, we've got the HubSpot report. It's the HubSpot Instagram report. Eric, what are the takeaways? What should we know from this report? Chris Smith had a great tweet on it as well, but walk us through this.
Yeah, I saw Chris Smith's tweet, and then we did an entire article on this. I'm not really sure what HubSpot is. I actually thought it was a telescope, but it turns out they did this entire Instagram
HubSpot's one of the most widely used CRMs in all of business. I'm sure, Eric, you did know that. I'm sure
of course.
that.
I just want to throw in a little
by
joke
the way,
there,
the book that I think their founder wrote. I gotta find the book now. I just blanked on it. I was gonna say conversion something, but that's Chris.
The conversion code is Chris Smith, so everyone should pick that up. All right, so it broke down. I mean, the report's like an hour long to read.
Sales acceleration formula. Got to have that book as well. Go ahead.
Go get that book. I'm sure it's riveting. All right, so what we need to do is we're going to break down. I think there's 6 points here. This is like a 2-hour report that Bam and Chris Smith did a great job breaking down. So these are some Instagram statistics for you, kind of. All right, the top categories on Instagram that get the most engagement: home and auto. So home, that's good for us, real estate agents. Auto, cars, obviously. I don't know how those get that much engagement, but people are obsessed with cars. The most popular categories: trending, news, and travel. So this is actually great for using KCM charts and referencing these articles and referencing news. Anytime you are talking about something that is trending, whether it's political or it's about finance, sports, whatever, you get more engagement on your posts. So it's great to use the graphics from KCM. The most engaging content is short form reels, of course. And then second is carousel posts by a slim second margin. So I think it got like on average maybe 200 likes less than reels. And we noticed that too. Whenever we do slideshow posts, whenever I do slideshow posts on the Broke Agent, the amount of shares, engagement, likes, and comments is through the roof. So these types of posts are not dead yet. So I'd recommend implementing a lot of those in your content.
What's everybody's thought on including at least one emoji will get you higher engagement?
Yeah, I'm running through these. That we're going to get to that topic.
But what's your thoughts on that? I'd like everybody's thoughts on that. Does that work? I don't know.
I think so. If you put like a little laughing face emoji, it always makes people want to stick around.
Yeah, I like the new melting smiley face.
I like the eyes as if like, hey, you want to see more? That's always good for podcasts. The fire emoji, like a link in bio with the fire emoji. We include those in like a lot of our BAM posts. Or you do the arrow down, the hand down to like force people to comment on something. So I'll get into the emoji stat now since Byron forced my hand here.
Yeah,
one emoji gets you higher engagement. 6 to 10 is bad. And 11 plus is psychotic. So if you're throwing in 11 emojis, you should be basically arrested. But you should do one emoji. And also in your captions, 1 to 20 characters does really well. So short form captions, especially in North America, and then or 2,000 plus characters in your captions.
Wow.
So it's like a George R. Martin book.
Yeah, exactly. Author of Lord of the Rings for the people.
So go super short in your writing or write a book.
Yes, or write a book. And think about it, the psychology behind that too. If you do see a caption that's super long, you do want to read that because you're kind of intrigued. Like, why did this person just write an essay here? And as we said in the last episode of the walkthrough, long captions are great for SEO since more and more users are using Instagram, TikTok, YouTube as their search engines. So long captions, great, or short captions, something 20 plus characters, not ideal. 1 to 20 or 2,000 plus. As Chris Smith said it, he said, go brief or go deep, which I thought was
another
genius.
Great quote. Go brief or go deep. Eric,
everyone's got to follow Chris Smith, by the way. This guy is a marketing genius.
Absolutely. Eric, we should pull data on our email on when we include an emoji versus when we don't open rate.
Yeah, we should.
That would be a good piece of data.
Someone will do that.
Jill, pull that stat for us, Jill.
And then another interesting aspect of the HubSpot report, hashtags. They still say you could use as many hashtags as you want. I mean,
that's
up to 30, of course. But they're saying using a bunch of hashtags doesn't harm you as long as they're very niche specific and you're switching them up. So you still aren't supposed to include love or party or something like that. They have to be very specific to exactly what your post is.
I'm using 0 hashtags. It's not impacting my views at all.
Interesting.
Oh.
Yeah. They've actually gone up since I stopped using hashtags.
Yeah, well, it does say in the report too, if you are using large hashtags, it can suppress your content, especially if it's not in the category of your actual post. Yeah. So We know
So
that.
maybe having like a deeper discussion in your, description of your post is better
I
than
guarantee.
having a hashtag.
Yes, 100%.
I guarantee if you're selling in Topeka, Kansas, you want to use that hashtag. I don't think that one is overused yet.
And you can search these hashtags and see how many there are. Like if a niche specific hashtag would be something that's, 500 to 10,000. So that's kind of a sweet spot you want to be in. If you're using anything that's 100,000, 200,000 plus, you're not going to show up.
Right.
Dan, let me
And
guess your favorite hashtags right now. Gurneys, Portnoy,
Montauk,
and
how do I get the ricochet shot here?
Puff Bar.
Are you kidding me? I'm gonna go send out an email. I'm gonna go send out an email blast with Joe Biden with a smiley face and see how many clicks I get.
Oh my
Smart
God.
go Joe Biden in the hashtag all the way.
Oh man.
Dan, what do you got? You got anything to add? Or
Yeah, I mean, I think Instagram's algorithm is psychotic right now. I'm not seeing any of my friends post. I'm seeing all random people, and it's
they've
like
all unfollowed you.
it's like a constant constant guessing game. I think TikTok is really pummeling Instagram right now. I just made my second TikTok, and I'm going to be hammering it as soon as we finish this podcast.
What does that mean? You're going to post it like 15 times?
I'm done.
Go over to Dan's TikTok. Taya, final thoughts on this electric episode. Maybe our best yet. Dan, fresh off of the suspension and everything we covered. It's just been, a great episode.
Electric.
Final thoughts.
The
Taya.
vibe of the four of us is just it fell to my face. It's just always get a good laugh.
That reminds me, the four of us will be together in
Mhm.
just weeks. And maybe you can tame us down coming off this wild New York weekend.
Oh, I don't think that's gonna happen at all. I honestly think that when the four of us are all together, it is next level. I'm actually slightly concerned for our Dallas trip.
So Bobby, in the link here, if you're not booked yet for Dallas Summit, make sure you hit the link below. We've got the cheapest tickets in the game where you can come join us at Summit. And then next week on next week's walkthrough, subscribe, hit the reminder for next week's walkthrough, because we'll let you know how you can actually come to the BAM Bash.
Yeah.
We have a limited number of tickets. I mean, it's really limited. I think it's less than 100 spots.
The hottest ticket in town. Tom Ferry's
Dan will be dressed in a clown suit, juggling balls and making balloons for everybody.
He'll be juggling jewels and taking a puff of
Oh my God.
as they go by.
Eric's gonna be DJ with his Invisalign in, and Byron's gonna be sitting there tapping away on his French onion soup.
I'm gonna be wearing my cowgirl boots because I'll be so excited to be there again, because I never get to wear
do
them
some
in LA.
line dancing.
Exactly.
Real quick, Byron, I just want to make a statement. The jokes I made early in this episodes are not in any representation of my actual political beliefs. I am just trying to encourage laughter and content and engagement. So if you heard all these jokes, I'd
like to make a statement that regardless of what Eric just said, they have no affiliation with BAM. Eric doesn't have any affiliation with BAM after those comments. He's been suspended for at least the next 72 hours. And BAM does not support Eric's political beliefs in any way.
Well, those are my political beliefs. So
Byron's just throwing around sussies like every other episode.
Yeah, exactly. Ridiculous.
Okay, what a great walkthrough. Love you guys. Can't wait to be hanging with you guys all in Dallas. And stay tuned. We got just some big stuff coming. So love you guys.
If you guys enjoy this episode, throw it a like, subscribe to the channel, leave us a comment. Call to action also on the HubSpot report says that works.
Call to action. Eric is political A.
Oh my God. So good.